Compact luxury SUVs make up a crucial segment of the automotive business. Often positioned as entry-level models, their job is to convince buyers to spend a little more money to obtain the prestige of a luxury brand. Get it right, and they'll attract decades of profitable repeat business. Get it wrong and the buyer goes back to blue-collar brands, or another luxury marque. We gathered 4 compact SUVs that represent a wide range of approaches to luxury. Since these are special vehicles, we chose a special destination, Big Bear Lake, a Southern California vacation land where you can water ski or snow ski, sometimes on the same day. Located nearly 7,000 feet above sea level and accessible only by twisty, challenging roads, we thought a road trip to Big Bear was the ideal way to test these aspirational sport utes. The Acura RDX was redesigned for 2019, updated in 2022, and enters 2023 with no changes except the addition of 3 years of AcuraLink services and 2 years of complimentary maintenance. Acura sent a top-of-the-line A-Spec Advance model with optional all-wheel drive, priced at $55,545 and powered, like all RDXs, by a 272 HP, 2.0-liter Turbo 4. The 2023 Genesis GV70 is the SUV to beat. It was our 2022 Motor Trend SUV of the year, and our recently departed long-term GV70 left us pleased and impressed. Of course, that was the top-of-the-line V6-powered Sport Prestige model. For this comparison, Genesis sent an AWD GV70 with the 300-horsepower 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine in one from the top advanced trim. Its $53,500 price tag was the lowest in this comparison. Last year, a Lexus NX350 and F-Sport trim narrowly lost a comparison to the GV70, but the NX bravely showed up for a rematch, and we're glad it did. Like the RDX and the GV70, the NX is largely unchanged for 2023. Lexus sent a standard AWD model, as opposed to an F-Sport, with the 275 HP Turbo 2.4 and a sticker price of $56,930. Big news for the Lincoln Corsair is its new for 23 Active Glide hands-free driving system. Lincoln sent a mid-level reserve model with a 250 HP 2.0-liter turbo engine. Active Glide is only available in a high-end $10,730 option package, which made the AWD Corsair's $61,535 price the highest here. We had high expectations for our contenders. Of greater importance than our usual SUV criteria, space and practicality, we looked for them to justify their higher cost. Driving engagement is important, but mostly we sought a sense of prestige. If we were laying out our own cash for these premium branded SUVs, would they make us feel like we'd spent our money well? Testing tech on the 210. Our gang of 4 Motor Trend editors departed Los Angeles on the 210 freeway, a long and none too interesting drive that gave us a chance to evaluate interiors and technology. Right away, the 2023 Genesis GV70 set the pace. Its cabin drips with classic leather-lined ambiance, real leather, not synthetic, and we love how its designers weave digital and analog controls into a cohesive and handsome whole. The climate controls are a perfect example of form and function in harmony, and we like the fact the auto mode has low, medium, and high blower settings rather than just a single Arctic blast speed. Lincoln does this well, too. You could say we're big fans. One serious disappointment was Genesis' awful voice recognition system. We could barely get it to change radio stations, let alone program a destination. We were pleasantly surprised by the 2023 Lincoln Corsair's cabin. Despite extensive use of chrome and piano black trim that seems aimed at, shall we say, an older demographic, we found it has the best infotainment screen of the contenders here, though the chrome bezel made it look like a tablet propped on the dashboard. The Corsair boasts the only home screen capable of presenting multiple functions, map, stereo, etc., at the same time. We love the steering wheel controls. Cruise control buttons stay blacked out until the system is turned on, while the multifunction thumb joysticks work with simple prompts in the head-up display. HUD, an elegant solution to the inherent complexity of modern luxury cars. Still, we'd like a better driver's seat. The Corsair's feels overstuffed and difficult to settle into. The 2023 Lexus NX350's cabin doesn't match our idea of traditional luxury, but we appreciate its high-quality materials, abundant storage, and the way the lower portion of the infotainment screen is devoted full-time to climate controls. Though we lament the lack of a home screen, we like the big, crisp display, and the ease of switching between navigation and stereo functions. The steering wheel joypads frustrate us, though. You have to put a finger on them and wait a beat for their function to be revealed in the HUD before they work. Doesn't matter if you already know what they do, they don't do it until the prompt appears in the HUD, which is silly and annoying. Speaking of annoying, that's how most of us view the 2023 Acura RDX's cabin. With its multitude of buttons jammed into a narrow center stack and a small screen that can only be manipulated with a tricky-to-use touchpad, the Acura feels years out of date compared to the other SUVs here, though it drew praise for its comfortable and supportive driver's seat. We were eager to try Lincoln's Active Glide system, which allows the 2023 Corsair's driver to take their hands off the wheel on mapped roads, and it did not disappoint. All 4 judges thought it worked beautifully. The steering gets choppy on sharper curves, but automated lane changes, initiated with a flick of the turn signal stalk, works nicely. When the system comes to areas it can't navigate by itself, it provides clear and early warnings on the dash and HUD telling us to put our hands on the wheel, and you still have the advantage of Lincoln's excellent lane centering system. It really reduced fatigue on a thoroughly and interesting portion of the drive. The 2023 Genesis GV70 has the Popper's Active Glide. It's not supposed to be a hands-off system, but it doesn't seem too bothered if you let go of the wheel, only asking for intervention in very sharp curves, by which time it's already veering over the lines. The Lexus lane centering works well, though its adaptive cruise waits too long to brake for rapidly slowing traffic. The Acura RDX's cruise was better behaved, but its lane centering system proved worst of the bunch, frequently wandering over lane lines. We left the 210 in San Bernardino for some quick city driving loops. All 4 of these SUVs take their compact status seriously, with good sidelines and easy maneuverability. The Acura RDX's light steering makes it feel nimblest, but its top-down parking camera is inferior to the others here. The Acura competes with the Lexus for the most road noise and the stiffest ride on bad pavement, though the Lexus exhibits refined damping over the biggest bumps. Contrast that to the Lincoln Corsair, which rode smoothly but clattered over pockmarked asphalt. The 2023 Genesis GV70 hit a nice middle ground, though its heavy steering felt ponderous in parking lots. From San Bernardino, we pointed our SUVs north to Route 18, the rim of the world's scenic byway, an understatement in naming if we've ever seen one. This fabulous twisty climb proved to be the perfect place to evaluate handling, when we could draw our eyes away from the spectacular views, that is, and it's where the Acura really shines. The latest RDX was the most fun in the curves, with light, accurate steering and excellent responses. Much to our surprise, the Lexus wasn't far behind. It too exhibited excellent steering feel, if not the same chassis poise, and its engine sounded coarse and strained. The Corsair felt like it was tuned for comfort over speed, with steering that provided little useful feedback. Still, there's brilliance in the platform it shares with the Ford Escape, and you can make great time in the turns if you don't mind a slight out-of-control feeling. But the brakes spoil the fun. They're grabby and difficult to modulate, drawing criticism from all of the judges. All of us like the Genesis GV70's low, car-like driving position and solid on-the-road feel, but the heavy steering, which gets even heavier in sport mode, and to no good end, draws contempt. The GV70 feels good at a rapid pace, but if you push it as hard as it will go, it begins to feel like it's fighting against you rather than working with you. The entrance to Big Bear is dramatic. You climb through ever sharper curves, round a bend, and there it is, right in your path, Big Bear Dam and the lake behind it. In this part of California, high altitudes are normally associated with the desert, so a massive body of water at 7,000 feet is a novelty. First dammed in 1884 to irrigate orange groves at lower altitudes, Big Bear has been a popular tourist destination since the invention of the automobile. Droughts have been unkind to the lake and its surroundings, but the unusually wet winter just past has brought the water level right back up, and we got to see the lake in all its glory. We had a delicious dinner at Stella Luna. We weren't expecting many good choices, but Big Bear surprised us with its culinary variety, then settled in for a quiet night's sleep at the lodge at Big Bear Lake. We were up early the next morning, cruising through the Alpine-themed downtown for panning shots of the SUVs. A quick drive, everything's a quick drive in Big Bear, brings us to Big Bear Marina, where we may or may not have considered telling our boss all the SUVs broke down, then renting jet skis and spending the day on the water. Propriety prevailed, unfortunately, but we thought this be a lovely spot to crawl around back seats and trunks. The 2023 Acura RDX has the best back seat. Not only is it roomy, but the theater-style arrangement, with the rear seat elevated higher than the fronts, provides great visibility. The GV70's back bench feels cramped by comparison, with limited toe space under the front seats and plastic-clad front seat backs so close they feel like they are jammed in the backseaters' mouths. The 2023 Genesis GV70 is also the only contender without heated rear seats. You have to opt for the V6 engine to get him. The 2023 Lexus NX350 is also tight on back seat space, though we like the thigh support provided by the long bottom seat cushion. But while the other SUVs have neat plastic trim around their latch child seat tether points, the Lexus has slits in the carpet that look like they were made with a box cutter. The Lincoln Corsair offers its rear passengers plenty of amenities, but the panoramic sunroof, which stretches front to rear, limits the amount of headroom for our taller testers. The RDX, GV70, and Corsair are comparable in terms of cargo volume, while the Lexus trails by a 5 cubic foot margin. Only the Lincoln has a sliding back seat to alter the ratio between legroom and luggage space. The Lincoln and Genesis both have spare tires, while Lexus and Acura use this space for extra storage. The RDX's is particularly trick. It's plastic-lined and has a drain plug, which tempted us to fill it with ice, beer, and soda and revert to jet ski plan B. All 4 SUVs let you fold down the rear seats from the trunk. The releases are mechanical in the RDX and GV70 and electric in the Corsair. The Lexus has electric folding seatbacks, which can be lowered and raised from the cargo area, and there's a mechanical release on the seatback as well. Oh, and during our walk-around, we noted the paint finishes. The Genesis and Lincoln have a lovely sheen, while the Acura and Lexus suffer severe cases of orange peel. We take the back way out of Big Bear on Route 38, which wends its way east before doubling back for the descent into Redlands. Back at sea level, we stop for lunch and a debate on our final ranking. By now, we are largely in agreement, not only on the finishing order but on the fact that all 4 of these vehicles fulfill their missions well. The Acura RDX, Genesis GV70, Lexus NX350, and Lincoln Corsair all make convincing arguments for the step up to a premium brand. We'd happily drive any of the 4 for our next trip to Big Bear Lake, which can't come too soon. We never did get a chance to ride the Alpine slides. 4th place goes to the 2023 Acura RDX. We love the Acura's racy driving dynamics, and it feels odd to relegate the SUV with the best backseat and cargo area to last place. But this competition is all about luxury and prestige, and the RDX, with its noisy ride, dated interior, small screen, and kludgy touchpad interface failed to deliver the experience we sought. The RDX is a great family car, and nicely differentiated from the Honda CR-V to which it is related, but it simply doesn't feel as luxurious as the other 3 SUVs here. The 2023 Lexus NX350 takes 3rd place. It's a competent, easy-to-drive SUV with a friendly and cheeky demeanor, and it's more comfortable and refined than the RDX, but it trails the Genesis and the Lincoln by a fair distance. It lacks the opulence of the GV70 and the Corsair, and it doesn't help matters that most of what the Lexus does well. The closely related Toyota RAV4 does well, too, and at a lower price. The 2023 Lincoln Corsair leaps well ahead of its Japanese rivals, actively gliding its way to a 2nd-place finish. Active Glide is a great system, whether in hands-off or lane-centering mode, but that wasn't the only reason it did well. We liked the interior ambiance, infotainment system, and quiet, luxurious drive. The Corsair has no serious vices save its awfully abrupt brakes, and it might well have won this comparison but for its price tag. Sure, cutting Active Glide would cut the price, but it would also mean losing the upgraded stereo, heated rear seats, panoramic roof, and head-up display, and would make the Corsair a lesser SUV. But we simply couldn't justify the Corsair's pricing over the value-laden Genesis. Yep, the 2023 Genesis GV70 chalks up yet another win, though it's not a clean one. All 4 judges sharply criticized its poor voice response system, heavy steering, and cramped back seat. But even with these detriments, the GV70 simply looks, feels, and drives like the most expensive SUV in this test, all the more amazing considering the opposite is true. The Genesis GV70 also delivers the most prestigious experience in this comparison, and so it clinches the win. Our thanks to Visit Big Bear for hosting the Motor Trend staff during our comparison test.